Chcecie się dowiedzieć, jak zdobyć osiągnięcie 10 Years 2 w grze Bohemian Killing? Macie już dosyć, bo ciągle trafiacie na tą gilotynę, nie wiecie już co zrobić? Jeżeli totalnie się pogubiliście i chcecie wiedzieć krok po kroku, co trzeba zrobić, aby zdobyć to osiągnięcie, to w tym filmiku przedstawię pełne zeznania, więc na pewno niczego nie przegapicie. Cześć! Jestem Wprowadzenie, a to już kolejny mój poradnik dotyczący gry Bohemian Killing. Jeżeli masz problem z odblokowywaniem osiągnięć w tej grze, to w opisie tego filmu podaję linki do wszystkich moich poradników dotyczących Bohemian Killing. Tym razem będę walczyć o 10 Years 2. No to cóż, trzeba by doprowadzić do niego działając w afekcie. No dobra, czas zacząć zeznania. Zaczynam w hotelu. Pierwsze ważne wydarzenie to rozmowa na recepcji około 21:25. Że zaczyna się zeznawanie o 21:00 to byłbym za wcześnie, więc przyspieszam sobie czas telefonami. Jest około 21:20, taki margines błędu jest akceptowalny. Próbuję wynająć pokój.
I wanted to rent a room in a hotel, but the clerk said that a room had already been rented in my name. He said it's on the top floor and gave me a spare key.
Monsieur Eaton, do you claim that you did not rent that room?
Oui, Monsieur le Président, but I knew it could not be a coincidence. The name Ethan is not that common.
So you tried to learn more from the clerk?
Yes, however, he hid behind his professional secrecy. I knew he wouldn't tell me a thing.
I do not understand one more thing. You live next to the hotel, so why did you want to rent a room there?
Sometimes I meet up with some girls of the Moulin Rouge, and due to my reputation, I prefer not to do it in my apartment.
Did you meet Marie Capet face to face?
No, Monsieur le Président, never.
I understand. Please continue.
Skoro to ktoś inny wynajął pokój, no bo to nie ja, to trzeba to jakoś udowodnić. I żeby to zrobić, trzeba zajrzeć do rejestru hotelowego.
I wanted to learn something about that hotel room, allegedly rented by me. I dialed the front desk and asked a staff member to check something in the backyard. I had a moment to look inside the guest book. I checked the guest book. There was my surname and a signature which I recognized immediately. It was the signature of my father. Monsieur le Président, the evidence mentioned by my client has already been presented by the prosecutor. But I must add that we commissioned the handwriting expert. This is the proof marked with number 1. It states that the signature appearing in the hotel guest book really belongs to Antoine Eaton, father of the accused.
Then Monsieur Antoine Eaton will be re-examined as a witness. The hearing will take place at the next trial. I ask to duly summon the witness. The accused can return to his testimony.
No, to ktoś wynajął pokój. Ojciec wynajął pokój.
Later, I opened the door and walked out into the street.
A więc tu już się nakręca jakaś afera, a to mnie chcą tutaj skazać na gilotynę.
For a moment, I opened the door and entered the building where my apartment is.
No ale cóż, jeden podpis tu nie wystarczy.
There was a letter for me from the Ministère de la Justice. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 2. It clearly shows that my client designed his interrogation machine with only the best intentions. According to his plan, it was supposed to be forwarded to the prosecutor's office and law enforcement agencies to improve the effectiveness of interrogation. The prosecutor's suggestions that my client has supposedly intended to use this device to torture helpless women is hasty and completely untrue. This letter only proves that the accused was looking for application of his torture machine and had not found any support from Ministère de la Justice, so he decided to test it on an innocent woman.
The court supports the view that the mere fact of an offer to the Ministère de la Justice does not constitute sufficient evidence that the allegedly accused acted in good faith when creating such a device. Monsieur Eaton, please go back to your testimony.
Okej.
Then I opened the door. Then
Na
I used the
górę.
stairs.
Do Monsieur
I
Brisota.
knocked at Monsieur Brissot's door, and he called back after some time. Do you always
Wyjście ze
visit your
ściany.
neighbors at such odd hours? Monsieur Brissot is the only neighbor I like. I believe with reciprocity. He goes to sleep late, and sometimes we like to argue about politics and the influence of la Révolution on today's France. Please, return to your testimony.
No to u Monsieur Brisota.
I
Kto
heard
to?
noises coming from the kitchen. I thought it was Monsieur Brissot preparing his dinner, and I wanted to say hello. But it was not him, only a woman.
Did you recognize this woman?
Not immediately. She seemed familiar, but I did not know who she was.
Please testify.
No właśnie, kto to?
I opened the door to the living room of Monsieur
Może ten
Brissot.
łepek będzie wiedzieć.
For a good 10 minutes, I talked to Monsieur Brissotem. And again, we had an argument about la Révolution. Monsieur Brissotem felt regret that in modern France, the high birth was no longer relevant. Also, he boasted that he had hired a maid. I do not know where he found the money for her salary and did not see any effects of her work. His apartment was a mess, as usual.
Wasn't that an odd thing for you?
Yes, Monsieur le Président. If someone hires a servant, one can expect order. And in this apartment, there was none.
Did your neighbors say anything else about the maid?
Yes, I was going to say it. It turned out that it was Marie Capet, my old classmate. We grew up in the same city, and I had not known that she had moved to Paris.
So you admit that you knew the victim?
Oui, I knew who she was.
Okej. Czegoś by się trzeba dowiedzieć. Skąd ona i dlaczego?
There was a letter tucked into Monsieur Brissot's book. The Lordship Service Association was the sender. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 10. It is a letter sent by a fictitious organization to Monsieur Brissotem, which, as it was said in the letter, cultivated traditions of the French nobility and was sending Madame Capet as servant for free. The letter was sent several days before the murder. So the question arises, who had really sent Marie Capet to Monsieur Brissotem? And what were their intentions?
Thank you for the clarification. The accused may continue to testify.
Nie wiadomo skąd się wzięła i dlaczego, dowiem się później. Tymczasem kieruję się na najwyższe piętro do swojego mieszkania. Zaczekam tu na Marie Capet. Tylko że spotkanie miało miejsce dopiero około 22:05, więc mam jeszcze trochę czasu. Wybiorę się dla zabicia czasu do swojej tajnej pracowni. Otwieram ukryte drzwi.
A hidden door behind my bookcase leading to my second workshop.
Can you explain to the court why you have a hidden workshop?
I work there on my secret projects that I create independently of Le Feu.
I understand. Please continue.
No to a propos swoich
My
projektów.
journal, in which I describe the construction process of my interrogation machine, was on my desk. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 3. It clearly shows that my client had only his best intentions during the construction of his interrogation device. According to his plan, it would be forwarded to the prosecutor's office and law enforcement agencies in order to improve the effectiveness of interrogation. My client also wrote that the first test of the machine would be conducted under the supervision of the Ministère de la Justice.
Thank you, Councillor. The accused may return to his testimony.
O, drzwi się zamknęły.
I opened a hidden door behind my bookcase, leading to my second workshop.
Dobrze, że da się od środka otworzyć. No i wciąż mam trochę czasu, zanim przybędzie tu Marie Capet, więc aby go przesunąć, po prostu pogotuję.
I was cooking dinner for the next day.
I tak aż do momentu, aż zapuka.
Later, I took to cooking dinner for the next day.
To chyba ona.
I heard someone knocking at the door.
Aż mnie odrzuciły te drzwi.
And there she was, Marie Capet.
Zapraszam do środka.
I invited Marie Capet inside. She said she remembered me from school and was curious how things turned out for me. She had been recently hired as a maid by my neighbor, Monsieur Brissotem. I showed her my apartment, my designs and inventions. She was delighted. So I thought maybe she would be interested in my interrogation machine. I took her to my private workshop.
Nie będę jej żegnać, tylko wezmę ze sobą sztylet.
I picked up the mechanical dagger lying on the desk. Then I felt a blow to my head and I collapsed on the floor.
Chyba dostałem po głowie.
I woke up some time later. My head ached and I was all covered in blood. Marie Capet was nowhere to be found. I saw a spare part of my invention lying on the ground. I saw traces of my
I co
blood.
teraz? Wynalazki?
I saw that the safe was open, and Capet had stolen the designs of my most important invention.
Why do you think Madame Capet did it?
I don't know, Monsieur le Président, but I was going to
No
find
to tak,
out.
trzeba się dowiedzieć, tylko przy tej widoczności będzie to trudno, więc po prostu przebiorę się jakieś czyste ciuszki.
I changed into clean clothes. Then I opened the door.
No i tak, pewnie już dała nogę.
Then I used the stairs.
Żadnych śladów po sobie tutaj nie zostawiła. A na zewnątrz? Ale na zewnątrz jest ślad.
I realized that there was a woman's right glove under my door. I knew that I would find the left one somewhere to match. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 4. It explains the conclusions of the fingerprint expertise and why there is no more victims' fingerprints in my client's apartment. According to the evidence number 28, which is the information chart, the victim was right-handed. This is also confirmed by Madame Capet's parents' testimony. As my client testified, the victim had been wearing this glove at the moment of the burglary, which is much more probable because of the fact it was found under the door of my client's apartment just after the break-in. It is only a floor higher than the apartment of the victim's employer, so it is unlikely that the victim had just lost it. She had probably lost it while flying from the crime scene. It does not explain why the victim's fingerprint were found on a metal rod and the inner side of the door, or if a glove actually belonged to the victim. But it explains it well, Monsieur le Procureur. The victim, as a right-handed person, did not expect that she would have to use the other hand. At risk, she instinctively grabbed the bar with both hands, not thinking about fingerprints. Please note that the fingerprint expertise demonstrated only the fingerprints from the left hand of Madame Capet, and the victim was right-handed. It is logical, therefore, that she had to use both hands. About your second plea, I think that we will surprise you yet.
Quiet, please. There will be time for final conclusions later. The accused may continue to testify.
Dobra, na dół. Do Monsieur Brissotem, no co to ma być? Co to za służąca, która mnie napada?
I knocked at Monsieur Brissotem's door, and he called back after some time.
Ciekawe, co on na to.
I opened the door to the living room. I started asking Monsieur Brissotem about his new servant, if he knew where she was and what she had been doing in my apartment. He said he had no knowledge whatsoever about any of this, and he regretted that she had violated the peace of the building. He let me look around her room because he thought that maybe I would find some sort of clue explaining her outrageous behavior.
Jak najbardziej skorzystam, no trzeba się dowiedzieć, gdzie ta Marie Capet, o co tu chodzi.
Then I opened the door to go in Marie Capet's room. There was a woman's left glove in Marie Capet's room.
No to jest para.
Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 5. This is a woman's left glove, made by the same furrier as the glove found on my client's doorstep. The same color, size, and same degree of use. Both come from the same pair and belong to Madame Capet.
Thank you for your clarification. The accused may continue.
Rękawiczki to jedno, ale tutaj jest więcej tego.
There were clippings about me hanging on the wall. They described my access to money, my inventions, and my achievements. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 7. One can conclude that the victim is obviously obsessed with my client.
Thank you for your clarifications, Monsieur Eaton. Please continue.
Szybkie komentarze sędziego.
I examined Marie Capet's read, and it was a socialist scribble of Charles Marx. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 6. It shows Madame Capet's socialist views, which could have intensified aversion towards my client.
Thank you for your clarification, Monsieur Eaton. Please return to your testimony.
No i ostatni dowód obrony, który znajdę w tym pokoju.
I found a letter in her bedside table addressed to Marie Capet. Someone had ordered her to obtain secret designs of my new invention. Her employer knew about the secret passage in my apartment, and he knew the combination of the safe. She was supposed to act on the day of the Prométhée Première funded by us, and which I attended. After gaining the designs, Madame Capet was supposed to meet her employer in the apartment on the top floor of the Caucasus Hotel. The letter was not signed. Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 8. It clearly indicates the intention of committing the crime by the victim, which, according to my client's testimony, Madame Capet committed on the day of her death. Not only did she break into the apartment of my client, deprived him of his extremely important documents, but also she was acting with the intention to kill him by hitting him on the head with a heavy object, which resulted in loss of consciousness and brain damage. Then she fled the scene without calling for medical help or making sure that my client was alive. So your client had sufficient motive to commit that murder.
Gentlemen, please calm down. The evaluation of the evidence is in the hands of the court. Monsieur Eaton, please continue.
No to nagromadziłem trochę dowodów na to, że to nie ja tutaj byłem głównym podejrzanym. A teraz idę do hotelu. Zaczyna się wszystko składać, no. Ojciec wynajął pokój w moim imieniu, Marie Capet gdzieś uciekła. No dokąd mogła uciec? No pewnie do hotelu, w którym zginęła.
I opened the door and walked into the Caucasus Hotel.
I've just received an urgent package from the Procureur de la République containing new evidence in the case. I ask both the parties to get acquainted with it. It is a letter from the attorney's office from 1 week before the murder, which calls Alfred Eaton in attendance to forward the designs of the invention which he has constructed in secret from Le Feu Company. The firm acted on behalf of the president of the company, Hugo Argent. Monsieur Eaton, have you received the letter?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
When did you receive it?
I don't remember exactly, but probably on the 10th of October.
So, exactly 1 week before the murder.
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Which designs are mentioned in this letter?
Designs of my secret invention on which I was working in my free time. It has no connection with Le Feu.
Therefore, why did the firm send you this letter on behalf of Hugo Argent?
Hugo must have guessed what great potential my invention had, and how profitable it could be.
Did you keep your designs in your apartment?
Oui, Monsieur le Président, in the safe, in my secret workshop.
Due to the new circumstances which may be relevant to the case, I order a rehearing of Hugo Argent. Please summon the witness. There will also be a rehearing of Antoine Eaton, father of the accused, due to the suspicion that he had rented the room in which the murder was committed. And at this time I announce a break. The next court session will be held tomorrow at the same time.
No to przerwa w zeznaniach, po to, żeby trafić do celi, w której nic nie załatwię. Więc po prostu kładę się spać i będę kontynuować.
Bienvenue, messieurs. We are all present, so we can begin. To begin with, I inform you that Hugo Argent submitted further clarifications on the letter from the attorney's office discussed yesterday. His testimony has been attached to the evidence. Antoine Eaton, too, has submitted clarification on the issue of the rented room in the Caucasus Hotel. It was attached to the evidence. Monsieur Eaton, please continue your testimony from the moment you've ended yesterday.
No to było tak. Wszedłem do hotelu i teraz co? Którą mam godzinę? 22, no prawie 25, więc jest jeszcze trochę za wcześnie.
I spent a few minutes talking on the phone.
Która teraz? No, jest tak między 22:30 a 23 i teraz udam się do tego pokoju wynajętego niby. No i zaprowadzę tam porządek po raz kolejny.
The elevator grate. I took the elevator to the second floor. Then I opened the elevator grate. Then I opened the inner door.
Póki co czyste drzwi, ale to się za
I
chwilę
opened the door
zmieni.
and entered the room. As I walked in, Madame Capet was standing by the desk, counting money from the suitcase. She didn't notice me.
No, tak właśnie.
I sneaked towards her and stabbed her in the liver. After a blow, she slipped on the floor and died in a pool of blood.
So, you admit that you killed Marie Capet?
Oui, Monsieur le Président. I killed her.
Please continue your testimony.
Then I left the room into the corridor.
Monsieur Eaton, did you not want to regain your designs? You had been robbed.
I don't even know what I wanted, Monsieur le Président. I was confused after the blow to the head, and I didn't think clearly.
Well, please continue.
I to jest kluczowy element. Nie zabrałem swoich projektów. Można było tutaj bardzo łatwo skusić, gdybym zażądał tych projektów zanim ją zabiłem, albo po prostu zabrał je po morderstwie. A tak? Wygląda na to, że nie myślę trzeźwo. I to jest właśnie to morderstwo w afekcie.
Then I opened the gate.
No to teraz jeszcze tutaj troszkę poszaleję w barze.
I read cultural announcements.
Która to godzina? Ale słabo widać. A nie, wskazówki się pokrywają. No nie, ale za wcześnie trochę.
Then I read cultural announcements.
Po 23.
Then I read cultural announcements.
Jaki to czas? No jeszcze kwadrans do tego spotkania, ale zaryzykuję.
I read cultural announcements.
Co to?
I entered the Café de Paris cafeteria. I wanted to drink some good wine and eat a piece of cheese. A group of Parisian rabble tried to throw me out, screaming that there was no room for gypsy thieves. They beat me and threw me into the street. I was all covered in blood.
Did you report this fact to police officers?
No, Monsieur le Président. I decided that it was not worth losing my time.
And why is that?
A second of my work is more important than the lifetime of each and every one of those plebeians. Besides, if I had reported it, I would have done them a favor.
What do you mean, Monsieur Eaton?
In jail, they would have had better living conditions than those holes that they call houses.
I understand. Please return to your testimony.
No, czyli tutaj też darowałem sobie policję, no bo dopiero co tu mordowałem, no to... I teraz spotkanie, widział mnie zakrwawionego.
In the hallway, I passed the neighbor who was coming out of the building. He pointed out the traces of the victim's blood on my clothes, but I was too nervous to care. Then I opened the
No tak, stresik. Na górę, wracam do swojego apartamentu i teraz już na tyle nabroiłem, że no, należałoby tylko zakończyć zeznania, bo lepiej nie będzie.
Then I opened the door to my apartment and entered.
I teraz ponownie kieruję się pięterko wyżej do swojej sypialni i kładąc się do łóżka zakończę
I used
zeznanie.
the stairs. Then I opened the inner door. I was tired after the banquet, so I immediately went to sleep. I was even too tired to undress.
Is it all you want to testify, Monsieur Eaton?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
And so I close the hearing. It is time to present your positions.
I teraz mowy końcowe, tak?
Monsieur le Président, the accused tried to trick himself off the responsibility. He used cunning rhetoric, trying to hide more and more of his new lies. However, in view of the evidence presented by the prosecutor, I have no doubt that Alfred Eaton, defendant who appeared today before the court, murdered Marie Capet in cold blood. Please, let the High Court not be deceived by his tearful stories about a poor gypsy from the country who gained his success with hard work, and which Marie Capet so cleverly tried to destroy. It was the accused who destroyed the life of a poor girl and her family with full premeditation. And what did that poor girl do to deserve such cruel fate? She was searching for a better life, and was employed as a maid in the same building in which a dangerous psychopath lived. According to the prosecution, the accused is guilty, Monsieur le Président. Therefore, I apply for recognition of Alfred Eaton, defendant who appeared today before the court, guilty of all charges against him, and for imposition of the death penalty by beheading on the guillotine. Thank you. Monsieur le Président, Monsieur Prosecutor used a lot of high-flown words. However, during the preparation of indictment, he made many mistakes. As to the hotel room, my client had never rented a room in the Caucasus Hotel. As we have shown during the proceedings, it was his father, Antoine Eaton. It is supported by the hotel's guest book, graphology expertise, and the testimony of Antoine Eaton. As to the alleged attempt to use the torture device on the victim, My client did not intend to use his interrogation device, which the prosecutor describes as a torture machine, neither on Marie Capet nor on anyone else. This is indicated by the letter sent by my client to the Ministère de la Justice with a proposal of a lawful use of the equipment to serve the law as well as society. The journal of Alfred Eaton clearly proves it, where he writes that he does not intend to use his device against honest, innocent people. It is important to emphasize the relationship of Marie Capet and my client. According to the testimony of the victim's parents, she felt a deep resentment and contempt, both for my customer and for his work and success. It is confirmed by Madame Capet's read, a socialist work of Karl Marx, which was created to destroy the minds of young people. Newspaper clippings about Alfred Eaton were found in Marie Capet's room. Is it not strange? It makes this resentment towards my client possible. As to the meeting with Marie Capet in his apartment, indeed, Marie Capet came to visit my client at his apartment, and Alfred Eaton let her in, not expecting such a sudden attack. Hence the victim's fingerprints in the apartment of my client, and traces of Monsieur Eaton's blood, which were mentioned by the prosecutor. Marie Capet came to the apartment of my client with the intention of theft. This is indicated by the letter that my client found in the room of Madame Capet. Outside the door to his apartment, Alfred Eaton found a glove that Marie Capet had lost during the assault on my client. This explains the strange conclusions of the fingerprint expertise mentioned by the prosecutor. The fact that said glove belonged to Marie Capet is proved by the fact that my client found the glove from the same pair in the room occupied by the victim. As for the murder, as my client testified, he killed Marie Capet. What is important, my client acted under a strong emotional agitation, justified by the circumstances. This is a mitigating circumstance, and I ask the court to take it into account. As for the testimony of the neighbor who saw Alfred Eaton entering the building covered in blood, my client had fully confirmed the witness's testimony. Thank you, Monsieur le Président.
Ponownie cela, ponownie nic do roboty, no to co?
Monsieur Eaton, please hurry. The court is ready to announce the verdict.
Czas na werdykt.
The verdict on behalf of the République Française. The court, as present, hereby finds that Alfred Eaton, accused of murdering Marie Capet, is guilty, recognizing at the same time that he acted under the influence of intense emotions, justified by the circumstances, and imposes a penalty of 10 years of imprisonment.
I o to zakończenie mi chodziło. Zakończenie 4 z 8. To właśnie celowałem. Tak oto zdobywamy osiągnięcie 10 years to. Przypominam, że jeżeli masz problem z odblokowywaniem osiągnięć w tej grze, to w opisie tego filmu podaję linki do wszystkich moich poradników dotyczących Bohemian Killing. A jeżeli jesteś tu po raz pierwszy, to zachęcam do subskrypcji mojego kanału. To by było na tyle. Dzięki za oglądanie. Cześć!